Hello and welcome back to CEO.CA's coverage live from the Precious Metal Summit at Beaver Creek 2024. I'm excited today to be joined by Michaud, CEO and President of Red Pine Exploration. They trade on the Venture Exchange under the ticker RPX. Mike, great to have you on the show today.
Thank you.
How are you finding the conference so far?
That's very good. It's very busy. A lot of interested people in Red Pine.
Yeah, fantastic. So for people who aren't familiar with Red Pine Exploration, could you give us maybe the 30-second summary, the elevator pitch?
Certainly. It's, Red Pine is a company that's been around for a long time. They have a great property in northwestern Ontario. It's a big mining area. A lot of big mining companies are near us. It's a property that's been worked on in the past. We have an existing resource. In fact, we just came out with a new resource, and we added about 150% to the resource. And we just completed a financing, and now we're going back in to look at the bigger picture and try to expand the resource. So what's been interesting is that before we had an underground resource, so everybody looked at it as an underground mine. But now we still have that underground mine potential. But now we also have potential for an open pit to start with, or a larger pit mine as we go forward.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks a lot for that summary. There's a few points that I'm going to circle back on there as it relates to the financing and the updated resource. But I want to maybe start with your journey as new CEO of the company. Joined the team about 4 months ago. Can you tell us, maybe a bit of your background, and also what did you see in Red Pine that made you confident this was a team and a company you wanted to be a part of? And how the first 4 months as CEO been going?
Right. Well, as far as my background, I worked with CA Goldfields, IM Gold, and most recently with Wesdome, that owns the Eagle River mine not far from the Wawa Gold project. And I really know this area well.
Yeah.
And I've looked at this project several times in the past for potential purchase for another company I was working for.
Okay.
I've always liked it. I thought that the company and the project has great potential. And, what I'm finding is that we've done a really good job working in a very small part of the property. And where I see the company going is looking out for the expansion of the resource. And so we're taking some of the areas that haven't been looked at before. And you can see that these big old camps, when you go back in there with some new ideas about geology and some deeper drill holes, they've been very successful in finding new deposits, and that's what we're really looking for here, is expand the resource, find something new, and really add some value in the project by making a step change in the resource space.
Okay, fantastic. Well, let's talk about that resource. You recently added a significant amount from the 2019 MRE. Can you walk us through maybe what does that mean for the Wawa Gold project, and what was some of the work that went into updating and growing that resource?
Yes, it was actually a bit surprising, to tell you the truth. We took the resource from 700,000, around 5 grams per ton, as an underground, and there's a lot of drilling. In fact, there's about 65,000 meters worth of drilling done over the last 5 years. And it was near surface mineralization that was lower grade. But looking at it as an open pit, we were able to include some of those ounces into the pit, and really we grew the resource from 700,000 to a combined 1.7 million ounces of indicated and inferred resources. So I think that was really a substantial gain. But to me, what's more important is the optionality it brings. Before, we looked at this solely as underground, and that potential still exists. We could mine this underground anytime. But what we have now is we could have a big open pit to start with, or we could have a moderate-sized pit, or maybe just a small starter pit before we get started with the underground. So that optionality means a lot for this company going forward. And, we want to be able to assess that and decide, are we going to build our own plant, a toll mill, we're going to do an open pit, or we're going to do underground? I think that's all very important, and I have the optionality to assess that. And one of the things, when I look at it, is before we can really make that decision, we have a lot of areas that are open that we don't have one drill hole looking into, including below the Jubilee shear itself. So I think that we'd like to drill a few holes there, maybe really test those areas, find out what we really could have there, and that could change the project a lot and that optionality. So getting the first feel for that's really important in this next drill program.
Great, thank you very much for that summary. Let's talk a bit about that Jubilee shears. Can you expand maybe on the gold mineralization you've seen there? Is there a plan to drill that further this year?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, this is, I've certainly worked at a lot of the high-grade underground sort of visible gold and quartz vein type deposits that are typical of the area. The Jubilee Shear is actually quite a nice deposit to work with because even though it's more moderate grade of 5 grams per ton, the thicknesses are really a lot more than what you'd find in the typical mine. So anywhere in the order from 15 to 20 meters thick. So for an underground scenario with continuous underground moderate grade, that is nice to mine. So I think that we've done a really good job in understanding the geology and which way it plunges, so we can make sure that development and the drilling is in the right location.
Oh, cool. Excellent. So changing focus a little bit here, but you mentioned you had some experience in your previous roles working in this region. Can you tell us a bit more maybe about some of the action we've seen in that Greenstone Belt with some of the other companies and transactions over the last few years?
Yeah, it seems to be, it's the belt's really heating up. I mean, Barrick is there with their Hemlo line, which is just down the highway. And they've staked some claims in the area, and they're quite active. There's Wesdome, which is the Eagle River mine, which, I was looking at not long ago, so I know that well. It's about 100 or so kilometers away from the Wawa project. I guess one of the big players there now that's most active is Alamos. Since purchasing the Island Gold Mine, again, they did some drilling around, their existing mine and found something really great at depth, and they're developing and mining that now. And that just sort of just gives us the proof that drilling around these old mines, you can find more. So we certainly like that. But they've also just recently purchased from Argonaut Gold, Michaud mine and mill. Okay. It's a big mill nearby, and it's only about 60 or 70 kilometers away from our site. So there's some, opportunities there, as we go forward. I mean, I certainly think that, we really need to find out what's on our property and what we have and add some value. And then once we know that, maybe then we can approach some partners in the area and say, hey, is there some way we could maybe work together or... So just options.
You mentioned Alamos. I understand they're a significant shareholder of Red Pine. Can you walk us through maybe the cap table and how Alamos came to be such a prominent investor?
Yeah, they've invested. In fact, in the financing that we're doing right now, they're pro rata, they're 13.5% in the company. Yeah, which I think is really strong support. In the project, they certainly believe in it, and we certainly have a lot of communication with them. Also, we have Franklin had a 1.5% royalty on the property last year. Again, so that shows a lot of really strong support from a big company. And we have Merck, one of our largest shareholders. Again, it's investing in this financing in pro rata. So to me, that's a lot of support for the company. Yeah, you can see the value that we have there and the potential that this property has going forward. So it's quite happy to have them as shareholders.
Yeah, absolutely, and definitely a stamp of approval to have some of those big names, being a part of the story. I guess just to wrap up, I know you have a financing that's been upsized from 7 to 9.6 million. Can you paint us a picture? How is that money going to be put to use? What can people expect over the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, certainly. So and we were really happy with the upsizing. It's really oversubscribed. Yeah, the share price is quite low at this time. Certainly compared to our peers, we're really quite low, and so there's opportunity to increase value here. The upsizing means that we could drill a bit more. We certainly want to make sure all that money goes into the ground, into drilling. Yeah. So when that financing closes at the end of September, then we're going to start to be drilling in October. Take some time to select a new drilling contractor and get the drill rigs going again. But really what we want to concentrate on is expanding the resource base, especially in the underground. So really finding out, taking some big step outs, finding what this deposit could really be and what's the size of this. So it's exciting. We're going to be bold. We're not going to be afraid. We're not going to drill in the same location where we've drilled before to get good values. We're going to be stepping out and doing serious exploration here to see how this could be. So I'm proud that that's the approach, and that's what we, told people when we did the financing. So, that's what they bought into, is us really adding a lot of value. So, once we start the drilling, typically we drill with 2 rigs because we're a bit more efficient in that regard.
Yeah.
And that'll mean once the new stope starts to come out, we'll hope to have a press release out every couple of months with updates on how the drilling is going. And it'll continue until probably, the spring of next year.
Yeah.
And we'll be releasing results along the way. And hopefully at that time, the company will look a lot different and that property will look, really start to show the potential that it has.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Mike, sounds like it's been a busy few months for you already as president and CEO, and certainly a very few busy months ahead. Exciting times in store for Red Pine. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you very much.